Every single stream I do starts out like this. The interface is crazy confusing on this. So let me know. All right, I guess I'll just start because it's probably going live anyway. And I know that I just set it for 12:10 and we're at noon exactly, so I don't know. It says published, so it should be live. Okay, I'm going to try to get the chat going. Oh, here we go. Awesome, perfect. So I am live. What's going on, everybody? Happy holidays. It is Easter Passover week, and that means that places like Adorama is closed. So I'm in the studio just chilling out because there's no clients going on this right now when it's this. Your live sound is good. All right, cool. I'm trying a new mic out today. It is from Deity, the Deity V.Lav. And the cool thing about this mic is that, first of all, it's lower cost than other mics. Two, it auto detects whatever device you're putting it into. So hopefully we should have the issues that I had in past live streams on here. And I just want to thank Deity for hooking it up. That was amazing of you guys. All right, so I said, what am I going to do today? I said, well, I don't know, but I keep getting questions asking about Speedlights and then mixing Speedlights with Strobe. And I think I get that question a lot because we end up creating our own light for the first time using a Speedlight, whether it's a $20 off-brand or a $1,000 Profoto. It doesn't matter. A Speedlight is a Speedlight by the philosophy of what it is, a shoe-mounted light that we can just put in our bag and go create light when we need it. Little static on the audio problem. All right, you know what? Here's the problem. I think it is, hold on guys, I'm gonna swap out the Apple adapter because I think harsh buzz. Okay, hang on. Harsh buzz. It might be the, hold on. Sound better? That Apple adapter, I think, went through the wash. I have like 50 of them and I never know which one went through the wash because it was in my pocket. So let me know if this sounds better to you or not. Okay, so I'm just gonna keep going. So I'm in the studio today and I decided I'll pull out one Monolight and I'll pull out a couple Speedlights and show you guys exactly what you can do to expand your lighting without having to buy a couple of studio strobes. You can mix in your already existing Speedlights. Does this sound okay? Everybody good? I'm sorry my nose sounds disgusting because I've been sick since Vegas at NAB and it's like it's not fixing anything. Still there? Wow, okay. Let me try changing the mic out because that sucks. Hang on guys, let me try changing the mic really quick. There's a weird buzz, huh? Yeah, okay, hang on a second, hang on. Oh boy, this is so embarrassing. All right, so now I'm switching over to the Rode Lav. Hang on. Better, is this okay? Is this any better? Let me know. So I have a feeling that I have an issue with a couple things in my audio, including my phone itself. So let me know if this is any cleaner. Okay, let's try to get this going, even though there's audio problems. All right. So I have one Profoto B1X. You could have anything from Flashpoint or Godox or whatever. It seems like the shaking of the dongle connected to the phone. Yeah, the problem is that you have 14 adapters going everything and nothing is like a native connection and it causes a whole problem. But if this is better, let's go forward with it. Okay, let's start this. So I called up my girl Sheila. Here she is. Sheila, what's going on? How you doing? High five? No high five, okay. We're gonna light her up with a single studio strobe and then I'm going to clean up that light using a Speedlight. The reason that we're not gonna use our Speedlight as a key light is because it is clearly underpowered. Any Speedlight is going to be rated around 75 watt seconds, give or take. And the Profoto B1X is a 500 watt second light, and usually studio strobes start at around 250 watt seconds, maybe 400 watt seconds. There are 200 watt second units out there, but either way, they're always more powerful than a Speedlight. So what we want to do is get our light, what we need out of it from our key light being just the studio strobe, and then we're going to just add in our Speedlight because our fill light will always be either equal or less than the exposure of our key light, because if it becomes the dominating exposure, it becomes the key light. But working backwards, you're going to find out really easily that when you use this lower powered lights as your key and try to add in higher powered lights as your fill, you run into a bunch of problems and they start being counterproductive. So, you know, it's always common sense to just go with your most powerful light as your key, unless there's other circumstances at play. So let me move this iced coffee out of the way. By the way, Luna Coffee over on 29th and 7th or 6th uses coffee ice cubes in their coffee. So as it dilutes, as it melts, it doesn't dilute your coffee. It's brilliant, really brilliant. Okay, so let's get a shot. What I want to do first is I want to see what my ambient light is in the space, because I could probably use this ambient light in the exposure to clean up maybe the background, maybe even Sheila herself. But in the end, we just need to know what we're working with to begin with. What I need to know is, if I use a single light, how many stops away are the shadows going to be? And that basically means that if I take a shot of her now, that's the exposure of my shadows, because that's the light in the space. Does that make sense to everybody? Let me know. I feel like I'm losing viewers fast on this one. Also, just so you know, I am officially an affiliate now, and I'm going to be putting links to all my gear down below. So if you're interested in getting any of the stuff I use, if you want to help out the channel, anytime you guys shop through my links, it does help out my channel, okay? So let's put, first of all, let me put this in my pocket. Sorry guys, you're going in the pocket. And let me take a shot of just the ambient light. And what are we trying to get here, guys? What are we trying to look for when we do a shot of the ambient light without our strobes on? Whoa, that was a little weird. What are we looking for? Somebody tell me. Somebody tell me. All right, I'm at ISO 100, 250 of a second at f8, and click. Let's take a look. And we get a nice black frame, right? There's nothing going on in there. But let's take a look in capture one with our slider. As I pull it over, I start seeing her. She is about 2 stops away. So I'm looking at, basically, I have 2 stops away from my shadows at the settings I'm at. Now I could close down my aperture even more and make it 3 stops, right? So if I'm at f8, I go to f11 or so, and we'll be looking at 3 stop difference between our light and the shadows. But I think 2 stops is pretty good. Also, keep in mind we're using Speedlights, which are lower powered lights, so we don't want to kill ourselves with having to fill those shadows in. So now we're going to go, and we're going to first of all reset this exposure. And now we're going to add in a key light. So I have this Profoto B1X. Now, a lot of what people think is that they just buy one light and a big light source, and it'll always look great. What that really does is it pigeonholes you into one style of look. The joke is usually, oh, a 5-foot octa makes everybody look good, right? Well, yeah, but then you're looking at just that style of light, just that look. But just because a light is big doesn't mean that it lights everything, including if you're pointed towards a light, no matter how big this light is, it's never gonna light behind the hit. Remember, inverse square. Hits here, starts dying off. The closer a light is, the faster it dies off. So I could actually start seeing darker shadows as I get closer, because I'm exposing for the highlight towards the front of the face. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna pull out a 3-foot octa, because I feel like that's what most of you guys would be like, oh, I don't need a 5-foot octa, but I want a big ass light. And remember, the light is softer the bigger it gets compared to our subject, which means that this is Sheila's head, this is my light. It's going to be pretty soft. Yeah, the shadow pattern is going to be soft, but the coverage is going to be different, which is why single light isn't always the answer. But if you're somebody who has a speed light and is growing into a studio setup, you get yourself one monolight, and then before you have to go and buy other monolights or other studio strobes in general, you can still use that speed light that's sitting in your bag, as long as you have a way to trigger it. Usually, if they're the same brand, like Profoto, Flashpoint, whatever, they have a trigger system that triggers all of it. Or if they're not the same brand, you can usually find an optical trigger in one of the lights, and once you trigger one light, it'll fire the other one. You can run sync cables, all sorts of stuff. But since I'm using Profoto, I'm going to be using an on-camera flash to trigger this light, and I'm going to keep that light off for now, but I'm going to show you how we can use it as a fill light. Also, what you guys have to understand, and what people aren't saying, is that when you buy into systems that are a little more money and they actually are very dependable, one of the things that they're doing is making sure that all their bulbs match. This means that if this Monolight comes out at a certain Kelvin, 5,500 degrees Kelvin, so will the Speedlight. And the color, the shift won't be there. It'll all be matching color for color, color balance, white balance, everything that's the quality of light will match because it's the same tubes. Now, I've used more affordable lighting. I'm not going to name brands, but the second I tried doing things like this, adding in Speedlights to the Monolight systems, the Speedlights are bluer, causing my shadows to be cold. So, and when you're shooting things like I did, which was makeup and commercial things like that, where they're looking for specific Pantone colors, that red lipstick looks like this, her skin tone looks like that, you can't have the shadows being some different color if they didn't want it to be. You have to be able to, you know, make all your light clean if you need. Sync cables, does anyone use that anymore? Actually, yeah, because no matter what brand you use, there are sync cables that are shoe mount. And a lot of people, including myself, keep one of those in my bag because if all else fails, I still have a hardline cable. And I've had that cable for about 15 years and it's still going strong. So yeah, sync cables are still a thing, believe it or not. Just because we have all this wireless technology doesn't mean it's a fail-safe. And when it comes down to it, you don't have it. You can say add a CTO, Robbie Keane. I know you like to throw things in being obnoxious, but CTOs, why am I going to worry about calibrating a gel that if I overexpose, I lose the CTO saturation and my color balance is still off when I can just have a lighting system that actually matches? Okay, so let's do this. I'm gonna put, so these are the 3 boxes I have today. I'm gonna do a 3-foot octa, right? 3-foot octa, we got that. I have a 1x3 strip, which I think is easily one of the most versatile boxes in the game because it can either be a lot of coverage with a lot of control, or it can be just a really quick key light to light somebody up, or you can actually get an even spread across a background or something like that. So I really do like strips. If you talk to anyone that goes on trips with me, I always try to stash one of these somehow, some way in a bag. And I also have my favorite box of all time, the Profoto 1x1.3. There are a lot of other small boxes, but this one I feel has given me the most control and even light over the years. So because a lot of smaller boxes hit too hard in the center and don't even out so much, but this one seems, and the Chimera one really seems to hit. No, I'm not, Robbie, I didn't mean you were being obnoxious. I know that you're just poking at me, but you, I feel like when we go live, we say something and everyone tries to counteract us really fast. And then we spend more time like counteracting what we just said instead of moving forward with it. All right, so I'm gonna start off with a 3-foot octa and I'm gonna post this guy right here. And I'm going to really easily, oh yeah, so I'm mounting this on a C-stand obviously, and you guys can't see it, but there is a sandbag because this is going to get heavier and big over, or when you start putting a, or the balance point will get different as you start putting big 3-foot octas on here. Okay, so look at the size of this compared to her right now. Can you guys even see that? I mean, now think of a 5-foot octa. It's like insane. But if she is moving, right? If I have, I'm sorry, Sheila, I'm sorry. If she starts moving, which she obviously she's not because she's a mannequin. Listen, their words, not mine. The second she goes here, there's no light. We're gonna see a hard shadow come across. Let's get that shot off. So I'm gonna keep the same settings I had. I'm gonna turn on this light. It is in group A. I'm gonna shut this light completely off except for triggering. So this is just a trigger. So in fact, I'm gonna point it away so there's no discrepancy. Get a quick fire. And this light's going off because I had it on. Boom, right? So let's take a look. I'm gonna put this in TTL just to get an exposure. And, whoop, sorry guys. Ugh. Let's take a look. Just to get an exposure, and you can see, boom, it's a big soft light, but it's also kind of hard, right? Because it's gonna hit her nose. Let's do this. It's gonna hit her nose, but because there's no actual physical light there, It can't be illuminating that shadow. So what's my option here? Well, I could do a reflector, right? I could throw a what we call the Brooklyn reflector. We could put a white piece of foam core here. We could get out a tri-grip. We could do all sorts of things, right? But if I'm in the middle of like an event and I just set this light up, to have a quick fail-safe, I can just use the speed light that's on my camera already as an on-axis fill, meaning that I'm not going to disrupt the shadow pattern going across her face, but I'm going to open up those shadows. So by doing that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this into manual, right? So there's a 500 watt second light. It's at 5. There's a 75 watt second light. If I turn this on, right? I don't want to blast her at full power. I don't want to go anywhere near that. What I want to do is start off really low. So I'm actually going to start off at about 2.5. These are stops of light, okay? So let's take a look. Now I have my head of my flash zoomed all the way out. I have a dome on because what I'm trying to do is spread this light. What are you using to stream this? This is a Mevo, and I'm using actually cell service to stream it, hopefully. It should be, at least. Why, is it choppy for you guys? Let me know. So, where the hell was I? Oh, so I'm gonna make this light spread out as much as I can instead of being a directional force, because what I want to do is just kind of like lay itself inside those shadows a little bit. Let me see. So now it's, my light is basically facing her. This light's gonna come across as my key light, and way less power I have at 2.5 on this light. Let's take a look. Let's see what that looks like. Am I not tethered? Oh, and there you go. You can see that she cleans up really nicely. Let's put this side by side. And this is just with opening up those shadows with just a little bit of this light. Now, here's why I'm not using a reflector. One, I don't have to carry around a giant 2x3 piece of foam core. I don't have to carry around a reflector if I don't have it on me. If I'm already using this as a trigger, and now I can just dial this up. Little under an extra stop of light. Let's see what that looks like. And what you want to remember is your distance has to stay consistent, because the second I move closer, I'm actually adding power to this light. The second I move away, I'm taking away power from this light. Stream is good, at least here in Sweden. Let's take a look. So this is a little bit more power on the on-camera light. Let's take a look at what that looks like. And boom, nice and clean. So we started here, and now look what we just did. And all we did was able to mix this key light with this already on-camera speed light. And because we're doing on-camera fill, it's not disturbing the pattern of this light. It's just cleaning it up. And there's plenty of other ways to do this. You can even keep one strobe off camera, which is what I'm going to do now. I'm going to take a second strobe, and I'm going to mount it and just keep that around. So let's say you have like a home studio and you're doing this, and you just bought your first studio strobe, but you still have speed lights. You can still do this. I mean, you can still do multiple light setups. Just because you don't have studio lights doesn't mean you can't create light. Let's put it that way. All right, wow, it is warm in here. I'm gonna turn this light on. So this is group A. I made this group F just because I always make my on-camera light the farthest group from the key as I can, so I always know where it is, and it never interferes with if I'm adding more lights into the space. So let me put this light on, and I'm gonna make this group C, just why not? And I can do a lot of stuff. So I don't know if you guys follow, but I recently posted my favorite grip pin of all time, which I just lost actually. Oh, here it is. So this is the Kupo Grip Arm Pin. It's like $8, $9, but what's cool about this one is that it has female threads, and the female 1/4 threads allow for something like this, which is a cold shoe adapter. This is the IKan. I think it's the best one that I found so far, but I can just feed this in to this pin, boom, and now if I have C-stands or any type of grip arm type system, now I have a stand for the light if I want to keep it consistent. If I'm in a space like that, if I'm doing my own home studio, something like that. So I can just load this right onto the shoe, Let me know if there's any questions in the chat. And boom, right there, I have an extra light. Now here's the thing. If you're in a space, if you're on location, maybe you don't have to carry around mods. Keep in mind that you can bounce the light off of stuff. You got white ceilings, you got floors, things like that. Before I do that, while I have this setup going, I kind of skipped ahead by accident. You see how dark that background is behind her? Well, I can slow my shutter speed, and remember, please make sure you put a link to that adapter. If the links aren't in the description, because sometimes the Mevo deletes my descriptions, I'll put them in there as soon as this closes, but I did write out a whole description in this. Is it not there? Am I like, oh no, I'm looking at it. In the description right now, there should be links, product links to everything I'm using today and some other stuff. So wait, so now let's go back to our original shot. See this? Now let's say I think that background's a little too dark. Well, remember I measured the space. Remember I said I'm 2 stops away from the light in this space. So why don't I open up? I'm at 2/50th. If I drop it back to like, let's say a 60th, that's opening up some space for some light to come in. So let's do this. So now I have the same light, and boom, the background starts opening up. So we were here, and you can start seeing that the background gets brighter, and I could do it some more, right? I can go down to like a 30th if I wanted to. Let's take a look. And now we're really opening up this space. So that's just like a one studio strobe, my on-camera fill, and I'm dragging my shutter a little slower to let all this ambient light in. But let's say I don't want to drag my shutter, right? Well, you can do things like bouncing the light around. So let's take a look at that. What white balancer setting using? I'm at a custom white balance setting of 5000K. It's what I usually shoot at. I like a little bit of a cool tone to my colors a little bit. Okay, so remember I mounted this speed light? Well, without even putting a modifier on it, I can do this. I'm in an all-white studio, I'm gonna use it. If you're not in an all-white studio, which you probably aren't gonna be, because like when are you ever in an all-white room? But if you're around a place with white linoleum floors, gray linoleum, anything that doesn't have like a hard color to it, you can still bounce light off the floor. I'm gonna turn this on, and I'm gonna set this to about 6. Why am I doing that? Because I'm literally eating up light. It's gonna hit the floor. It's gonna come back up, and all that distance, all that is gonna burn light and power, okay? But it's a speed light, and I can do this. Now you could even hand hold this and shoot and get this effect, but then you're gonna be running into all sorts of inconsistencies. If you're trying to do like maybe corporate headshots really fast, like 3 or 4 people, you don't want to bring like a crazy setup. You could bring just a couple of speed lights along with one strobe and get this done. But if you're trying to stay consistent, if you just need to do like one shot and you're like, oh, what can I do? It's a quick problem solve. Another thing you can do is if you don't have a floor that is bounceable, like a white floor, if it's like red carpet or something weird like that, you don't want to bounce red into their face. You can just take like the front end of a softbox with you, fold it up in your bag, put it on the floor, and now it's a white bounce. Or aluminum foil, or a white shirt, anything. Like anything that's, I mean, if you find things right, I've taken the office paper out of photocopiers and laid them on the floor and bounced it off of the floor in a quick pinch. It's easy to do. So again, I have this zoomed all the way out, and I have a dome diffuser on it. I am going to point it right at the floor, and we're gonna see what we get. So I'm gonna shut this light off because I don't need the fill. That's gonna be my fill. And because I'm bouncing at the floor, I guarantee you it's going to illuminate that background a little bit without having to drag the shutter. So let's shut this, the power of this light off, the power. And let's do this. Let's take a look. And boom, you can see that background starting to illuminate, right? So I think I need a little more power on this floor light, let's call it. So I'm going to give it another stop and like a stop and a third. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. And you can see that we're opening up those shadows. Remember, we started here. And now you can start seeing it's a different look, it's a softer look, but it's also illuminating that background. And I could keep cranking this, right? Like 8 plus. Or I could even change my lighting pattern completely. Let's do that. Let's see what this looks like. But you can see the background starts opening up because we're bouncing light everywhere. So it's like, it's just a quick option to do if you needed it. Can you guys see that okay? Because remember we were here and that's where we are now. So you can see the background opens up. Let me see if this shows up. Let me see. Oh yeah, there you go. You can see that the background opens up. She's not blown out on my screen. If I go like this, you guys can see she has texture all over the place. I can do this and maybe you guys can see it better, but she's not blown out, but that's just the style of light. But if I were to change this pattern of light completely, right? Like let's say I didn't want to carry around a 3-foot octa, even though I know everybody wants to. Let's take this 3-foot octa off and let's try a different modifier, right? So I always carry around, I'll tell you, I probably never carry around that 3-foot octa. If I have it with me, if I have it in the space, I'll pull it out. But I always have strip lights on me because I can always use these to just accent things. I mean, I can use them, I can, just break silhouettes with them. I can light, 3/4 length bodies with them. I can light a background evenly with them. I just love 1x3 strips. And they're probably one of my favorite lighting modifiers to use all the time. Strips in general are always some of my favorite. We're gonna mount this and now we're gonna have a narrower spread of light. But let's say, all I did was buy this one light and this one modifier, right? Well, if I have a C-stand with some arm action going on here, and I wanted to, I could do a classic overhead 45 tilt down, right? Let me just, you guys ask anything? Pick a pop-up reflector from, yeah, pop-up reflectors are great for that too. But if you didn't want to use that, you could use the pop-up reflector, but what you're trading is if you use the pop-up reflector for just a fill, you just illuminate your subject. If you use the pop-up reflector the way I just showed you to the floor, you're illuminating the entire space and you're filling in the shadows from a good direction as opposed to pointing a speed light into the ceiling and praying that it does something. Okay, so let's get this light in the air. I'm gonna move this, because Sheila keeps moving all over the place. I gotta keep moving my lights. Well, if you stood still, you got one job, stay still. I don't understand why you're giving me all those problems. So let's take a look. All right, so this is way too overhead for me. I'm gonna do this. Give it a nice 45 degree, and I'm looking at it. It's kind of nice, I'm into it. Let's see just what this light is doing. So I'll shut this light off for right now. And we will keep it at f8, 250th, 100 ISO. We're still doing that. And if I go like this, let's take a look. And you can, actually that looks really nice, damn it. Okay, so I lit this pretty, damn it. Okay. All right, but maybe I want to make it even flatter. Maybe I just want to get light in that chin or something like that. Well, I have this light here if I wanted to. I did not expect to get it in the first shot like that, but I guess I've been hanging lights for too long to mess it up. Okay, so we're gonna keep it at the same power we just had it. And now I'm going to bounce it right off the floor. Let's take a look at it. And boom, really nice, very nice. So we were here, and if I wanted like a really soft, flat light, you can see the change right there. And that change is sometimes what people are looking for when they're like, oh, could you smooth out my skin a little better? I don't like my wrinkle here. Like you can basically retouch someone really fast, having an underneath light come in like that at the right ratio. So can you guys see that? Does that look clean to you guys? Hate it when that happens. Nice lighting. Thanks, man. Yeah. I got to explain to you guys that when you do these demos, you're kind of like thinking, how can I slow it down and how can I not snap into setups? because I think it comes to be muscle memory, and you can actually like really quickly visualize where things should be. And it stops being a science at some point. You know, there's a science to the ratios, but then it starts becoming a feel for the style. And I feel like when I do these demos for you guys, I kind of go, all right, let's do this. And then I almost get tripped up because I know we should also add this or take away that, but sometimes this stuff happens. But you can see that just one speed light pointed to the floor really smoothed out this look right here. And she is perfectly exposed. It's crazy. I can see every piece of paint that's on Sheila's face without having it being a distracting texture, which is a big deal. So this is a really quick setup, an overhead light. And you know, if you wanted to, of course, you could do this with Speedlights as well. You have seen me do these demos endlessly with Speedlights. I do like the A1. I find that it's really efficient. It gives me, actually, in setups that I've done in the past with traditional Speedlights, it has given me an extra stop and a half of light that I didn't expect, just because it's so efficient. And it does light up the boxes really nice and even. And the biggest deal to me about this Speedlight is the color temperature of it always matches the rest of the Profoto lights. I don't even have to worry about CTOing that or white balance here with that. I always know that every unit will give me the color that I've gotten in the past, and I don't have to like start from zero. There's other systems I've used, and once I throw one of their Speedlights in the mix of one of their studio lights, the shadows become bluer, and I'm like, what is happening here? And it's mainly because the tubes don't match. But this is some things, but like Daniel always says, right? You pay for consistency. You know, I know there's a lot of stuff out there on the market, and you know, shoot with what you can afford. But if you start seeing issues, that's one of the issues you're going to run into. If you start mixing Speedlights or mixing brands in general, like not every brand is created equal. Just because it says it's this much Kelvin doesn't mean there's a magenta green shift they didn't think of, right? A temperature of light doesn't tell you the color quality of it completely. It just tells you the temperature it's shooting at. So be wary of that. I actually ran into this with older Nikon Speedlights. I ran into this issue, and that was at the time were flagship Speedlights. You know, they've gotten really great over the years, granted, and my demos, if you look back, have all been with SB 910s from years ago, but these have really changed a lot for me. Okay, and the other, you know, another option you guys have is, hey Mike, is you can actually just handhold it and put the light wherever you physically want it, right? So if I wanted to, I could take this light off this stand. Oh, I'm so sorry. My nose is like a faucet right now. I'm trying to get through. My head is like a vice. I'm sorry, guys. So what I could do is, if I wanted to, if I didn't have a stand with me, I could take any any softbox system, Lastolite, Westcott, whatever you guys are into, and just mount the Speedlight to it. And I can hand hold a Speedlight wherever I want. So now if my shadows are really underneath, I can literally hold it. I can hand hold it, you know, and this is really cool if you're you know, at an event. When I shot like costume parties and things back in the Halloween days, I'd always want more of an underneath light to get a little bit more of a monster look. Like you could actually hand hold it, and you always see people with like doing handhold stuff, but this allows you to put your fill light wherever you want. So if I were to turn this on, let me see. Okay, so this is gonna be way too much light because I was pointing at the floor, now I'm pointing at the rect. I'm gonna dial it back to about 4. And I'm going to stretch out my lens to get a portrait going. I'm gonna hold it right underneath. I'm gonna go like this. And click, let's take a look. And you can see she's nice and flat and clean without illuminating the background because we're not bouncing off the floor. You know, because here we were bouncing the light off the floor and illuminating the space, but there we're just filling her in with a clean light. And I could even flatten her out even more if I wanted to. I could boost this up to about 5. And remember, your variable is gonna be where you hold the light, you know? So that's one of the things that's gonna suck is if something doesn't add up, it might just be you, like you were too close, too far, too to the left, too to the right, you know? So if I did it like this, let's take a look. And you can see that she's really clean and flat now. So we were, where were we? We were like here, I think. You could see that she got like really flattened out, really clean. It looks a little blown out, I guess, on the screen, but if I do this, you can see that the exposure is dead on. You can see texture all over the place. Let me do this. You can see that there's like paint in the eyes, crack paint everywhere, really sharp, really nice and clean, but it's not, the textures aren't casting a shadow because textures are just these micro shadows. So that's pretty much a few quick ways to throw a speedlight into it. You could even do things that are even crazier. You know, I always wear white shirts, so sometimes I'd hold the light and bounce it right off of myself, and it would be on axis and fill the subject with it. So that's another option. You know, but I think that people get caught up in like, I have to buy a full setup. It's like, do you, or can you use some stuff you already have, learn what you need, learn what you want out of your lighting, and then grow with it? Because I think a lot of people give up once they spend a bunch of money and aren't getting results, and it's not the gear's fault. It really isn't. So if you guys can just exploit as much as you can out of the gear you already have. Did you update your Capture One yet? I did not update my Capture One yet, and I might be getting my hands on some new cameras that I need to update Capture One, so I am in talks with them to get an updated version of this. Hopefully I can get into that, but right now I'm on the Capture One 11. So that's what I'm using now. I'm not into Lightroom at all. And that's about it. And remember, you don't need an on-camera speed light to do this. You could have just trigger systems that do it. You could have any way that could trigger your lights to sync, whether it's optically, whether it's a hardline cable. But do remember, just always keep in mind that if you do set anything to optical sync, meaning it'll fire when it sees another flash. If you use anything in TTL, it'll fire a pre-flash before the photo, and that pre-flash will trigger your lights and they won't show up in your frame. So keep that in mind if you're having any issues with that. Again, you know, it's all about making it trigger when you need to trigger and be the ratio you need it to be. Just because they're smaller lights doesn't mean they can't keep up with a studio light. If I was cranking this to 10, I might run into some issues. I doubt it, but there's definitely some times when you're using a 1,000 watt second light and at full power, and you're like, wait a second, the speed light isn't gonna keep up with this thing. You know, it's just, you have to pick and choose your gear based on the situations you need to come through on. You guys saw me run into issues in the Amsterdam video. I quickly ran out of power on speedlights at high noon with no clouds, just beaming sunlight. I couldn't wrangle that sun down the way I wanted to, but I got out of there alive, you know, knowing principles that I could exploit my gear with. You know, I wasn't gonna walk around with or fly to 3 cities in Europe with, you know, 5 B1s, but I had 5 A1s, you know. Are there any questions in the chat? I wanted to try to keep this one a little streamlined. I kind of drone on with the other ones. Man, my nose is killing me. I'm sorry, hold on. Sorry guys, oh, that was gross. And I think I'm gonna try to go live tomorrow. So if there's anything you guys would want me to go live with tomorrow, please write it down in the chat, write it down in comments. If you're catching this video later, write in the comments if there's anything you guys want to see. If you do want to support the channel so I can do more of these for you guys, just make sure you buy any of your gear through the affiliate links that I am providing in the caption below. And you could also buy some merch. I got my photos from over the years on some really pretty rad shirts, and I want to thank everybody that's been supporting the channel. It's been amazing so far. It's not allergies, Mike. It was a sinus infection I caught on an airplane coming back from Vegas while I was working at NAB. So it's been beating me up all week, actually. Oh, some big news coming May 5th. I'm dropping something pretty huge for Adorama, so be on the looks for that. And Adorama Rewind will return, I promise. I will be back on Adorama Rewind next Monday, probably. So we will get back to business on that one. Is there anything else you guys would like to see? Are these helpful? Has this been helpful? Did you guys learn anything out of this? Is there anything else I should expand on that I didn't? Let me know. Many speedlights have S2 optical sync, which ignores the pre-flash and TTL. A lot of them do have optical syncs that ignore TTL. However, there are some that freak out and just fire anyway. And optical triggers are probably the most finicky, probably some of the most finicky triggering systems there are out there. I've had optical triggers fire my lights based off of hard reflections that came off of a car like bumper while they were driving by. I've had them completely not see my flash in broad daylight. I've had them be completely line of sight, but for whatever reason, the cells in the optical was dying or something and it needed more light to trigger. There's all sorts of stuff that can go wrong with optical triggers, which is another, and you need a line of sight, so I can't like put it behind a wall or hide it in the scene. So that's another issue that you run with those. But if you have it, use it, you know what I mean? You don't have to go and buy radio triggers. I will say this though, if you buy separate radio triggers, May 5th is your birthday. Whoa, congratulations, man. Cinco de Mayo, that must be some birthday, huh, Robbie? It's funny, my birthday's the day after that. What was I going on to this? Oh, if you buy radio triggers, don't skimp on them, okay? If you're buying a third-party radio trigger, the cheaper you go, the more problems you're gonna have. And they're this one piece of gear that could travel through all your kit your entire career. I mean, just if it can attach to a light, it doesn't matter what light it is, but it needs to be dependable, which is why Pocket Wizard was like king forever. You know, now everybody has integrated radios, but if you are buying third-party radio triggers, do yourself a favor, do not skimp on them. They will drive you crazy, and they'll be using radio frequencies that are common, which means they can be triggered or actually get static and not trigger at all because they can't see the frequency anymore. Show some common mistakes people do, like putting the light too low. You're good at get it perfect right away. Yeah. Okay, well, maybe we'll get into that. Oh, Daniel Norton in the chat. Look at this guy. Trust histogram versus screen view, which is more reliable if you're not shooting tethered, specifically when using flash. That's an interesting one, actually. Histograms are a beast. People tend to ignore those nowadays, but I feel like if you're doing some legit Digitech work, you shouldn't be. If you're using lower end cameras, the LCD screens aren't calibrated enough, and you should look at your histograms. But pretty much when it comes to histograms, you want to see if your blacks are there, if your whites are blown out, and everything in between. So, but you can be, I could show you a histogram and not the photo, and you'd be like, whoa, that exposure's off. But if I show you the photo and I wanted a blown out white background, then it was successful. So you kind of have, it's a tough one. Maybe we'll get into that. Maybe me and Daniel will come with a demo for that one. If you guys are in New York, me and Dan are going to be here on Friday and Saturday. We have, what, Dan? We got about 2 spots left over the 2 days. We are charging for it, but it is a small group of 10 people per day, and you'll be with us for 4 hours. We'll be here with lights, pro lights. You'll be shooting. We'll be there. We'll teach you as much as we can, get you the principles you need. It's not going to be a deer in a cage. Let me set up these lights. You just come up and take a photo and it's your portfolio. No, you're gonna leave here, not with a portfolio shot, but with a head full of philosophies and principles that you can apply when you're out there shooting. So if you're into that, go to my Facebook or Dan's YouTube, Daniel Norton Photographer, and you can find the link. And remember, you can find me on anything like facebook.com/lastxwitness. If you haven't subscribed on here, please subscribe. I'm trying to get to at least over a K already on subscribers. And if you want to catch me going live, hit the bell, because a lot of you guys seem to be missing when we go live. If you hit the bell on my channel, it'll go, hey, he's going live in 15 minutes. And you can go, oh, what? I'm going to stop everything I'm doing and watch this, you know, and that would be appreciated. I'm just 2 states away. Mike, you got to come visit. If you're only 2 states away, make a trip out of it. It's the best city in the world. Forget about it. All right. Anything else, guys? What would you like me to get into tomorrow? I haven't set a topic for tomorrow's live stream, but I will be coming in here roughly the same time. Oh my God, my nose is killing me. Yeah, I guess that's, I don't know. Did I go over everything? Was everything cool? Should I do something? Is there something I didn't get? Don't forget, if you're a Speedlight person, the Kupo pin is bananas. Daniel Norton clued me in on these. And just to be able to have the female threads or female 3/8 if you want to put a ball head on here or anything that's 3/8 really, you could do it. So the Kupo pin is like the best pin ever. All right, any last questions, guys, before I call it? Anything. Tell me, all batters. Hey-yo. Remember, the one thing I really want you to remember when you're doing Speedlights on camera is that your distance matters, okay? That One thing you guys need to remember is that if I'm shooting with this on camera and and all of a sudden I step in and I didn't change my power, it's going to be brighter. If I step away, my fill light is going to be less, which means I'm going to have darker shadows, right? So which you could use to your advantage. Maybe you shot and you go, oh, the fill light's too hot. I can step back instead of worrying about power adjustment. Stepping in and stepping back is the same thing as adjusting your power. Oh man. Get better, Seth. I have to rewatch to catch what I missed. Yeah, go for it. I think this one was pretty cool. I really appreciate people hitting me in the DMs and giving me ideas of what I should put out there, because we don't know what you guys know and don't know, right? So years ago, we could put whatever we wanted out here and nobody knew what we were talking about. But now you guys are educated a bit. Let's talk about some things. What's some stuff that nobody's talking about? What are some topics that you can't find videos on or demos, or what are those little dumb stop gaps that aren't making connections in your game? Like, let's talk about it. Let's get you guys tight. Let's get you guys psyched on shooting. You know what I mean? You know, this was literally just whatever. That was all these setups just using one light and a speed light you might already have. And again, you could also transform this whole thing into a speed light demo if you wanted to put a speed light instead of a monolight. That's up to you. Get here at the end too. We'll catch. Oh man, Mike James. Now it's a party. You guys, what is this? Good one. Thank you, Seth. Good day to you. Thank you so much. Seriously, write down the comments. If you guys are gonna buy any gear, just let me know and I'll create an affiliate link for you. So just DM me or write in the comments any gear you're looking to buy, and I will give you guys affiliate links. And if you pick it up through those links, it helps support this channel and I can get some legit mics that don't freak out on me. Oh, one question, do you prefer manual or TTL? So I am a heavy believer in manual. TTL, I think I use it either like you saw me right now with an initial exposure, or if I just don't have a second to even think, I just flip the TTL and hope that it gets it where I need it. But for the most part, I am a control freak, and the last thing I need is while I'm moving a light or changing something, the camera or the lights start changing their exposures for me. Anything automated really messes me up, and that's just the way I shoot. So I am a big believer in manual setups. Manual settings, I'm sorry. Wow, I'm sorry if this was like convoluted and unclear. I'm so sick right now. I'm sorry. Iced coffee. Anything else, you guys? Me and Dan, do you want to go live this week? Let me know, man. Maybe me and Daniel will go live together. Could happen. We'll figure out something. I'm going to try to go live every week. But I know I've been slacking on that because of having to travel and stuff like that. But I'm going to try to build this channel as best I can. Man, this chat is dead, huh? Jeez, look at you guys. Let me know where you guys are all from. Tell me where everybody's from. I really am curious where you guys are all from. NYC here. Hit that like button, fellas. Oh, thank you so much. Take care of yourself. I'll give you a mulligan for today. I don't think this was a bad one. I think there was some knowledge in this one. Come on. Come on, I came in from Brooklyn to do this for you guys. Oh man, I gotta get a sinus rinse going. Nothing? Okay. Memphis, Tennessee. Whoa, we might be going to Nashville. I'll be in Nashville January. Oof, that's a while away. Oh, but Adorama Inspire Week is happening in June, guys. Don't forget, if you're in New York, come out to, or close to New York, come out to Adorama on, I think it's like June 19th through the 20-something. Me and Dan are doing photo walks and live demos. I'll be shooting special effects live on stage for a demo. Wow, everybody, look at this. West Coast, Anchorage, Alaska. Oh yeah, Mike, I know you're from Alaska. What am I talking about? NorCal, oh boy. I'm more of a SoCal guy. Oh man, Belfast. I really want to check out Belfast actually. Sydney, Australia. Oh man, these are all these places I want to go to. Unbelievable. Richmond, Virginia, but you're a Jersey boy? No boy. Oh man, I don't know about that. So yeah, if you guys want to support, hook yourself up with some merch with the link down below in the caption, or some gear. Hi, I'm here from sunny England. What are you doing in today's shoot? You just missed it, Glenn's Kitchen. I just did this for about 5 minutes. Scotland, Seth, hit here too. Oh yeah, Scotland's dope. I gotta get to Scotland. We appreciate you dragging your diseased ass to the studio for us. Yeah, I know. I can't sit still. I did nothing yesterday because it was Easter Sunday. I played, you know, Division 2 all day, and now Mortal Kombat's about to hit, so I'll be playing that. But should say fire. You guys are great. Listen, I just want you to know that we can't do anything without you guys. We can't do these demos or these live streams without an audience, and we cannot continue doing it without you guys hitting like and writing comments and sharing them. So that's the only way you can get this stuff to keep going on. I know there's a lot of people out there doing videos like this, or, you know, sitting in an armchair reading a spec sheet. But if you want actual professionals to placate to you guys and do demos and things like this, you have to engage on these channels. You have to hit like, you have to comment. It's you know, the popular versus the professionals these days. Do a demo where you shoot Daniel and he shoots you. Dan, didn't we do that? I thought we did that. Dan shot me on 4x5 film 2 years ago and has yet to process. So the blood shoot to do. Didn't we, Daniel? I don't know if he's still in the chat. More likes help Seth out. Thanks so much, guys. Any last comments, any last questions? I'm gonna call it. I didn't want this to go past 1 o'clock. I'm trying to make these shorter and tighter because I feel like people see a 1 hour time code on a video and they'll never watch it. Did any of you guys watch the last one we did where we smashed lens filters? That was mad fun. We had a lot of fun breaking stuff for you guys. Anything? Okay, even if you guys are interested in the Mevo camera that I'm using to shoot this with, the link is down there below, the lav that I'm using, the cameras, the lights, the boxes. Sheila is not on there though. She's only one of a kind, and we're really lucky to have her. All right, cool. Get well soon. Thank you. Thanks so much, guys. All right, guys. I guess that's it. All right. So if you're in New York, sign up for our workshops. I think we have 3 tickets left. And what's the best theatrical blood recipe? Oh, well, I'm glad you asked. So there's a couple ways you can do blood. And I think me and Dan were actually going to do a live stream where I just mix blood. Would you guys want me to do a stream where I mix blood? Is that something you'd be interested in? Prop work type stuff? I could do that. But if I were to... I was a bit cringy when smashing filters. Everybody was cringing when we were smashing filters, but it was a lot of fun. So quick blood recipe. Hold on, I got this right here. Grab 1 thing of Caro syrup, take out 1/4 of this, spill it out, fill it with water to break it up a little bit, and then put in a whole thing of red food coloring and then 25 drops or less of green food coloring, and you should be good to go. Depending on how old you want the blood to be, you would put more green to it, maybe a touch of blue, but if you wanted fresher blood, you dial back on the green a little bit. And if you wanted to, and not have a sticky, sugary type blood, you could take water and add, do we have it in here? We have this stuff called Thicket. I don't think it's in here, guys. But, oh no, here it is. Got it. Check this out. So if you want to do a blood that isn't sugar-based because it's a pain to clean up and it could get sticky or dry hard or rip hairs, you want to get some of this stuff where you can actually take water, mix this in, and it'll thicken it up. The more that you put in, the thicker it gets. And you just have to watch for air bubbles, and it does take a little bit of time to set, so it's not the best thing in the world to do if you're on set and you need it really right away. But it's a really easy way to make water thicken up and bead like blood does. So that, and then you just got to dial in your color. The one thing you're going to run into with doing food coloring is that when it sheds and the thinner it gets magenta, and to counteract that magenta, you would put more green into the blood. Sometimes I do a little bit of yellow, depending on the food color brand I'm finding. And I do add blue if I want it to have like an age to it. And if you want it to be zombie blood, now that's a whole nother story, but to really quickly make zombie blood, take whatever blood you have and put instant coffee into it and let it dissolve and grind down and make it a little browner because you want it to look decayed, okay? It's awesome that you come up with several recipes of blood to drop the hat. Yeah, well, that's what I did for 12 years. So there's blood all over my old photo gear. None of my Profoto stuff has blood on it, thankfully. And I will be shooting again at Makeup Forever soon, so I'll be dropping some special effects, new special effects soon, hopefully. It's just an insane amount of volume. I shot 300 looks in 3 days. Yeah, I shot 400 looks in 3 days for Makeup Forever last time I was there. So it's a lot of volume, and every time you shoot a look, it's like 30 to 60 frames. So it's insane amount of backup, insane amount of hard drive space, and insane amount of volume for me to get through. So, you know, corn soup and full coloring classic recipe for pig's blood and carry. Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with a really simple corn syrup recipe, but I urge you to cut it down with water because corn syrup is very thick. It's just a little too much. And it also has a yellow tinge to it, which can offset your color balance on blood. You should just do a stream on each example of blood. I didn't know if there was a really, okay, let's do it. I didn't think there was going to be it was like an audience for that, but I guess who else is going to do it, right? You know, everyone else is talking about spec sheets on cameras. I mean, what the fuck is that? All right, let's do this. All right, guys, I'm going to take Sheila out to dinner. We're going to have a good time. We just want to thank you guys so much for watching again. And if you are looking to get any gear, please let me know. Whatever you're looking to get, just write me in the comments or DM me on Instagram with whatever you're looking for, and I'll send you back an affiliate link. And if you buy through that link, you're not obligated to, obviously, but it does help out the channel. And I can do a lot more of this stuff. Okay. Wow. Okay, I'm going to go. I can't even talk. Yeah, so hit like, hit subscribe at LastXWitness on Instagram. If you're new to my channel, hit subscribe and hit the bell because I go live whenever I can. All right, everybody, do a spec sheet on blood. You know what? Actually, so you know what's funny is I can show you 25 brands of special effects blood easily. And some of them are $300 a bottle for a reason. And their stuff is amazing. I like Fleet Street blood a lot. I like Red Rum blood a lot. I think they do a really good job. I hate Real blood. REEL blood sucks. It's like neon red. Stay away from that stuff. But there are some amazing bloods out there. I think Fleet Street and Red Rum are like my two top that I've shot so far. But there's definitely full lines of like whatever age blood you need. And remember, blood changes color depending on where you're bleeding from. If it was like a abdominal wound, you're gonna get like bile and stomach fluids mixing in with that blood and makes it darker and muddier, as opposed to like a head wound, which is capillary blood, which is gonna be like a brighter red. You know, so you got to keep that in mind. Am I rambling about blood? Jesus Christ, what am I doing? This is what my career is now. I'm just kidding. All right, guys. I will see you guys soon. I'll probably be coming on here tomorrow. If you think of something you want to see tomorrow, write it down in the comments. Let me know. Remember, you guys can talk to each other. I really want my comments to be a community. So if you see a comment and you think you have an answer to it or insight, go ahead and drop a line on that person. Let's try to make it like people talking back and forth. That's really awesome. I really like that kind of stuff. All right. Later, guys. Thank you so much. How do I hit this thing?